Your sleep decides your physique, not your training, not your diet. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why your sleep is broken, how some of your good intentions are quietly ruining it, and the only rules that matter to fix it. So, sleep is not something that enhances your progress. It's the actual gatekeeper of all the results when it comes to your physique transformation. Because your sleep decides your physique. You are not allowed to progress without good sleep. Your body needs low stress and a significant amount of time to rebuild tissue, restore glycogen, and improve motor learning. So you can train as hard as you want and as hard as you can, but if you recover poorly, it will only look like the things that you see when someone says they've plateaued. Stalled strength, soreness that never goes away, and of course feeling like you're doing everything right, but nothing changes. You have to treat sleep as part of the program, not just a lifestyle add-on. Sleep is where the body decides what to actually adapt to. So that is why people train hard, diet correctly, and still stall. Because when you have poor sleep, it will increase your hunger and your craving. And your brain will then seek quick energy and quick dopamine, which is what causes you to randomly snack and subconsciously increase your portions. That is why sleep must be fixed first. Because most plateaus are not programming problems. They are sleep problems. And like I said, even good intentions can ruin sleep. The first good intention is having a flexible sleep schedule. It sounds right because it's intuitive. I'll sleep when I'm tired. But the problem is your brain relies on predictable timing to actually initiate and regulate those sleep hormones and your body temperature. So when sleep timing changes every single day, the internal clock will never stabilize. And that's what leads to sleepiness at the wrong times in the middle of the day, and then random bursts of alertness when you should be sleeping. Over to sleeping in on the weekends just to make up for it. And I get it, the intention here is to repay that sleep debt and you recover, right? But no, because sleeping in delays the internal clock, which shifts the sleepiness later at night and ruins that Sunday sleep. So the next week just starts misaligned. And then training late because it keeps you disciplined, right? The workout got done and you pushed yourself. Well, unfortunately not, because hard training just raises nervous system arousal and stress hormones. And when that's done late at night, the body remains alert all the way through the night. So you get into bed tired, but you're wired and ready to go. That's not what you want. And then over to using screens to wind down. This is probably the most common excuse. This one is always after a long day, you're tired, you feel like you haven't relaxed at all. And so you open your phone in bed, you start scrolling reels or TikTok, and you have that passive entertainment that just feels calming. But the problem is all that new content you're seeing is new information and it's sending a waking signal to the brain. And even the most relaxing content keeps your attention systems active. So now your sleep is just delayed. And then over to eating late, but it's clean. Eating a nice clean meal shows true discipline, right? You're hitting your calories, you're hitting your macros, everything is in check. Digestion is active work. While you're meant to be downshifting and getting ready to sleep, it's running one of its most important processes. So this leads to your sleep being lighter and you being woken up at night because you might need to use the bathroom. So how do we actually fix it? Well, we just have to realign the system instead of fighting ourselves every single night. So this is what we're going to do. The first one is fixing the clock. You need to anchor the body clock because everything else gets easier after that. Your sleep is controlled by two different systems. One, your circadian rhythm, which is the timing of your sleep, and two, your sleep pressure, which is your buildup of sleep. The issue a lot of people have, even my clients, is they try to brute force a bedtime when their system is broken. So the first thing to do is pick a wake up time that you can actually stick to for 7 days a week and keep it fixed. Your body will use this time as a daily stamp. Having a consistent wake up time means your body will know when to start producing melatonin when it's supposed to be sleepy and when your core temperature is supposed to start dropping. The problem is people start trying to go to bed earlier while still waking up late. This means you're completely out of sync and your insomnia gets worse. Here's the thing, bedtime is a result, not a decision. You can't force a bedtime. Bedtime is supposed to be pulled by the wake up time consistency. When you lie in bed without any sleep pressure, you condition your brain to think that the bed equals wake up time. And that's how you train insomnia into yourself. So when you wake up, get sunlight as fast as possible because that's your strongest signal to lock in that circadian rhythm. This is going to stop the delayed sleep onset, the late night alertness, and the weak morning energy. Now, when it gets to the weekends, try to keep this as close to the weekdays as possible. Big shifts create a social jet lag, so your body doesn't even know what time zone it's in when it comes to the Monday. So from Sunday night insomnia to Monday morning fatigue, then you rely on coffee, and you're just messing your whole system up. If you ever had a terrible night, keep that wake time fixed. Sleeping in steals that sleep pressure and so shifts the clock later, making the next night worse as well. Over to reducing evening stimulation. You don't need more sleep hacks. You just need a quieter nervous system. Sleep onset requires a downshift from alertness to rest. The problem is most people keep their brain switched on and stimulated until the very second they try to get to sleep. And so the real enemy here is novelty and dopamine. Like I said before, new information, new content just keeps the brain awake. Scrolling is designed to be a slot machine for your attention. So avoid screens late at night, especially in bed. Don't ever use your phone in bed. I don't care what you say. The bed should trigger sleepiness, not scrolling time. Don't say you're keeping the phone close to you just in case, or I want to hear my alarm in the morning. That's just a bad excuse. 30 to 90 minutes before, run a window where everything becomes lower stimulation. Lower the volume on everything. Lower the lights. Because the nervous system doesn't go from 100 to 0 instantly. You can't just go from an intense task to sleep. With that being said, don't take those tasks, those unresolved issues, those thoughts with you in bed. When you have too many open loops, your brain fears forgetting, so you don't ever switch off. So a good way to fix this is just to write your tasks down before you get in bed. Even things like a warm shower, calm music, breath work, light stretching also helps, but don't turn this into another performative program that takes 10 steps. Over to control digestion and your hydration. So the first thing we're starting with is the silent killer, which is caffeine. You need to set a hard cutoff time for caffeine because caffeine blocks adenosine, which is a part of your sleep pressure. Caffeine's half-life, which is the amount of time it takes your body to eliminate half the dose, is around 3 to 7 hours. So you need to cut off caffeine at least 8 hours before bed. Now, when it comes to digestion, as I've said before, your body can't get into deep sleep if it's still running an active process like digestion. So stopping large meals 2 to 3 hours before bed is the key. If you have no choice and you do need to eat in this window, make sure it's light. Because when you're digesting, your core temperature goes up, but sleep onset requires your body temperature to drop. And obviously we know alcohol is terrible for you, but some people are actually tricked into thinking it's a sleep tool. And yes, it can knock you out, but 3 to 4 hours in, halfway through the night, 3, 4 a.m., you're going to wake up. And not only that, you're going to feel unrefreshed. It's just a terrible drink all round. And don't expect good sleep or a good physique when you're drinking it often. When it comes to hydration, this also needs a cutoff. Me personally, I like to cut my hydration off at the same time I cut off my eating, which is 3 to 4 hours before bed, but 2 hours is a safe bet. As I've said before, you don't want to be getting up in the middle of the night, breaking your sleep just to go to the bathroom because deep sleep prefers uninterrupted blocks. Now, over to your environment control. You need to build a room that makes sleep automatic. And the first thing you can control is the temperature of your room. Every room has a window. If not, use a fan. Your core temperature naturally drops at night, and a cooler environment supports this. Another important thing about your environment is to make sure it's as dark as possible. Make the room pitch black. Turn off every light you can see, even the little LED lights that come from different devices on your desk. Use blackout curtains because even the smallest light cues can make your sleep lighter. Because a lot of us actually tolerate these little LEDs, maybe it's on our desk, maybe it's on the TV, the little red light on the TV, and then we wonder why our sleep isn't deep. Now, another factor when it comes to your environment control is the noise. You need to reduce the noise as much as possible or have a consistent background sound. So a lot of people like the rain sounds, a lot of people sleep good with that, because it's a consistent background sound. But when there are sudden changes with the sound, that's when it can pull us out of our sleep. A lot of people will say, oh, I slept through it, but that doesn't mean it didn't affect the quality of your sleep. Now, when it comes to your phone placement, you need to remove all temptation, remove all readiness, remove it out of your sight, remove it out of reach. If possible, remove it out of your room. Because the presence of your phone actually keeps your brain on standby. Now, one of the most important parts of your environment control is to understand that bed is only for sleeping. Your brain learns cues, and strong cues trigger automatic responses. So if you only get in your bed when it's time to sleep, as soon as you get in bed, your brain will get tired. So don't work, eat, watch content, scroll reels, watch Netflix in bed, because that's what creates insomnia. You're literally conditioning your brain to think bed equals alertness. And of course, it wouldn't be a good enough video if I didn't introduce some mini hacks to actually enhance that sleep if you've got all of this locked in. So the first mini hack are blue light blockers. Blue light is extremely harmful outside of its natural context, which is outside. So stuff like screens, monitors, LEDs, lamps that I've got on right now, phone screens. Our eyes aren't the only things with receptors. Our skin has receptors too. And if we continue to give our body incorrect signals, it will respond incorrectly. It's that simple. And I get it. Sometimes we're working late at night and we can't avoid a screen like I am right now. That's common and that's normal. But what this does is it changes our natural melatonin production. And melatonin isn't just helpful for sleep or our biological clock. Melatonin controls two key cellular programs, which are autophagy and apoptosis, which is cell cleaning and cell death. Melatonin is no joke. So if you're trapped in modern environments like a lot of us are in this day and age, wearing glasses that filter artificial light is a necessity. Of course, avoid any stimulating content where you can. Don't just sit in front of screens with the glasses on thinking that's optimal, because it's not. Now, in that same vein, avoiding blue lights as a whole helps massively. So when the sun goes down, I switch all my lights to red, and my screens have a night light feature which makes the color warmer. Again, these are mini hacks, but the little things add up to make it big. And then over to the last mini hack. I know a lot of people don't like it, but you won't know if you do not try it. I'm just going to be honest, mouth taping is elite. Blue light blockers along with this, absolutely essential when traveling. It helps deeper sleep, higher quality sleep because you're nasal breathing, not breathing through your mouth, snoring. However, sometimes we're not in our usual environments and context can change overnight. So, if you don't have these three, don't expect to have your dream physique and don't expect to even sleep well at all. These three are the three non-negotiables. 1, waking up at the same time. 2, having a dark, cool room. And 3, absolutely no screens in bed. These three are the biggest needle movers for sleep. If you can't fix these, you will never get your dream physique. So I hope you took notes and you have the answer to why your sleep sucks or why your progress may have stalled. Drop a like if you took some value. Comment what you'd like to see next. Peace.